Hello and welcome to the Michael Mama Show, Ancient Secrets Revealed. We're coming to you from Mount Soma, home of the Sri Someshwara Temple in the mountains of western North Carolina. This is our busy season as far as guests coming and visiting the temple. And I think one of my favorite things, for sure, one of my favorite things is on the weekends when it's really busy and there are all kinds of children playing. They play in there's a little like field or yard in front of the visitor center where they play, and they, bring their balls and toys or whatever, and they're kicking balls around and running around and laughing. And then in the temple, yesterday evening, I went back to the temple. I usually go a couple times a day, I guess. And the kids were there rolling around on the floor and just having a wonderful time in the temple. And it's just beautiful. I just love to watch children play, and even going around, even driving by or walking around a elementary school, even in Manhattan, right off the streets of Manhattan. You can just feel the vibe, the atmosphere. From a personified correlate, you can feel the presence of the guardian angels. Watching over the children. And so, when I look at Kali Yuga, the age of ignorance, the age when, it seems like money counts for more than God even, that is people's God, it seems, is money. And you see the results of that, losing connection with the depth, the foundation, the divinity, the unified field, God, choose your word, Chaitanya, where it goes, and the wars and the conflict and the poor children, it just breaks my heart, even the kids in this country, in the United States, where there aren't any actual wars going on, there's still conflict and just the craziness that's going on, and the poor kids, I mean, they're so innocent and they're so pure, and without giving any responsible reference frame, they become so confused and so lost. And then they cling to superficial convictions that they've been indoctrinated into that have very little to do with the connection of the depth, which is common sense. I say common sense. It's called sensing into that one thing that's common to everything, the underlying basis, Chaitanya, God, if you will. And that's Kali Yuga, in a nutshell. And it's gotta change. And the thing is, we have the technology. And now, I'm sure most of you who've listened to this podcast before have heard me say it and say it over and over again. And I think a number of you understand it intellectually. But if you really understand it, if you really get it, we would have full conviction in getting it done, getting the unified field generator done, completing the enlightened city that Mount Soma was designed to be and is becoming. And it's already, and even in its early stages, people that come here can feel it. People come from all over. They drive long distances. I went to the temple yesterday and I bumped into a couple there, and I just talked to them. They're from Cincinnati, and people come from New Jersey, and they're just all over, because this is a pure Vastu temple. It's run according to the Shastras, the true Vedic principles. And, all religions, not just Hinduism, but all religions, there are all these offshoots and these tangents and some of them just go off in just, outrageous directions. But there's a purity in the Vedic literature, in the Sanskrit literature, in the Veda, that does explain the science of it. and how to align with the science of construction of an enlightened city that promises to transform nations. And if you really believe that, if you really understand it, what else is there to do? And it takes money. All we need is, even one billionaire, but maybe even a team of them possibly, to just come together and say, okay, let's do this. Because, even worst case scenario, and this isn't the case, but even if it was the worst case scenario that they just ended up building something beautiful, something that would be a wonder of the world, an attraction to people, not just all over the United States. Well, already the people, when they come here from India or wherever, they make a point of visiting the Sri Someshwara temple. But it would be such a draw, even just for that reason. And that's just a little side benefit. The real benefit is transforming the nation so that children no longer have to endure the things they're enduring. Not just in this nation, but in all nations. Children, they're confused, they're hurting, and in many nations, they're suffering for no reason. So if you have any connection with, people in that position, please implore them, talk to them, inspire them. They can reach out to me. We have the plans. And I think I've explained in previous podcasts why, from the Shastras, we keep the plans, the designs, the details somewhat private. I wish we didn't have to do that. But, in India, the temples, you're not allowed to photograph inside the temple because it captures something. It compromises something. And it's the same kind of principle. But if there's a donor that's really earnest and sincere about trying to make this happen, by all means, I'll share everything I know with them. And Panditji will too. We'll turn all the cards up and say, okay, here it is. Let's build it. The children, I saw a nice quote. It's in the notes. Fanaticism is redoubling down your efforts on what when you have forgotten the goals. You've forgotten the goals, and you've got these efforts, and you're so dedicated to that, you forget the purpose. What's the purpose of war? The purpose of war is to bring peace and happiness and fulfillment to the people. And fanaticism is just redoubling down to war and battling, which does the opposite. And that's called fanaticism. And fanaticism comes in many forms, not just war, but political viewpoints, different convictions on all different levels. And what is the cure for fanaticism? Purifying what we call the global consciousness, cleaning the fishbowl of consciousness so that everything within the fishbowl thrives. In this world, it's like a fishbowl. All we have to do is clean that up and everything is fine. Deep inside, everybody is always fine. It's just that it gets so clouded with fanaticism, convictions, viewpoints, limited thinking. No reason for it. So please, if in any way you can help, please do so. Let's get this ball rolling. Let's get it done. The world is at a critical point right now. Some people are even saying we're on the verge of World War III. The phase transition to enlightened age will happen. That's for certain. Just as certain as the sun is about to rise. Just as certain. But what will the transition be like? Will it be an Armageddon, or will it be a blossoming into abundance? If we build this thing, we can turn it into a blossoming into abundance. That's really all I have to say. I'm working hard these days in particular. It's been very demanding, and I am doing everything I can. So, Scotty, unless you have anything to add, I think that's it for this week.
Okay, no, Again.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and please help if you can. Thank you.